If we can get somebody in here or what. What's going on? How's everybody doing tonight? Trying to see if I've got any PII behind me. Didn't think that through very well. What's going on, Twisted? What's happening, Luke, Jeff, Highway 99, Lenny? What's going on? I don't know. Vertical YouTube. I hear it's all the rage. So I figure we'll get it up there and we'll see what's cooking. We'll see if it produces any better numbers. I'm at 15 right now, so that's not real. That's not real solid. So today is July 12th, and on July 12th our briefs to the court were due. Rocket, you got to stop, bro. Our briefs to the court were due. We were allowed 25-page briefs, and I just got the brief back from the prosecutor, and he put some supplementals in his brief that I found to be pretty interesting, and they were these two other Social Security cases that have been adjudicated, at least through the lower courts. And one is DMA, the Cordova case, and then the other case is Stamps, US v. Stamps. And something that I found interesting in both of them was there seems to be a great amount of confusion as it pertains to everything that goes on in Social Security, as it goes with the interaction between Homeland Security and Social Security. Homeland Security thinks that Social Security has rules that it doesn't have, and Social Security puts up signs asserting that they have policies that they don't actually have. These things were proven beyond a shadow of a doubt in court, and here we sit. So I just wanted to kind of jump into the Stamps case. Maybe we'll do Cordova's. His judge. Both of the judges, they it just seemed very interesting the way that their thought process kind of went through on these things. So yeah, I don't know. So what's happening, guys? What's up, Dan? Sorry, this thing's here. I'm thinking the vertical might not be good for me, because I've got 24 people in here, so that's not good. Okay, so this is the decision from the Stamps case. So this is actually the transcripts from the end of the trial. And the judge is saying, and the court has reviewed the videotape, and I've mentioned several times, and it's clear that the defendant was allowed and was able to film the entrance, the foyer, the lobby areas where people were sitting. What's that say? Okay, so, and then it says, so that's pretty much the whole case. That's the whole entire case. That's the only places that I ever was when I went into Social Security, was these areas that were outlined by the CFR, the public areas, the the lobbies, the entrance, the corridors, the foyer. So the judge goes on further here, and this is when things get weird. So, but in addition, the court filmed private individuals coming and going from the building. Defendant filmed the security guard that worked behind his desk, and that included filming material that the guard pulled out of his desk to work on and review. So all of those things happen in the same place. So I guess I'm just confused. I think the judge is asserting here that you have a right to film these static areas as long as no other person is in them. He doesn't say that, but what is one to conclude? What is one to conclude from this? So we've got that. What's going on, Blind Justice? Good to see you. Very good to see you. Well, I guess I'm not seeing you, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, and then it goes into some things. I'm not gonna really show my hand on because we've got oral arguments next week to respond to any questions that the court has, and to, I guess, have a rebuttal against the prosecutor's brief. So I do want to add, though, so they found, he went on to find Stamps guilty, but the way in which it went down was quite amusing to me. Well, not amusing. It's kind of gross, actually, but I just had to laugh because, if you don't laugh, you might, kill yourself or something. I don't know. There we go. Okay. Okay, so I'll spare you some of it, but they're going, in this case, the prosecutor's seeking $120 fine to include an $85 fine, $30 processing fee, and then a $5 special fee. So that was going to be the sentencing that the prosecutor was suggesting for Mr. Stamps. And then it goes sideways again. So the court says, okay, so anything you want to argue about the appropriate penalty, government is arguing $120. I just have to say, the court's standpoint, I think I can look at a number of factors, and, he disrupted activity for the day. Police were called. He had at least, 4 officers out there. And so the $120 seems minimal to the court in the light of the incidents in question. And then Stamps' attorney pipes up, I agree, Your Honor. However, we plan on taking this to appeal, which of course you want to appeal this. The court says, you do? Mr. Moore says, yes. All right. Well, in that case, although the government has recommended a $120 fine, I think that it's way too low given that was involved in this case and on the day of the incident in question. So I'm imposing a $500 fine on the defendant to include the blah, 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 blah. So he just retaliates against this guy in open court. Well, in that case, because you're going to appeal, well, in that case, I'm going to assess a higher fee. So hopefully Mr. Stamps' attorney is looking at this the same way any reasonable person is. But holy shit! I mean, geez. So that's kind of what's going on there. So 44 people. I don't know. Is there another court day scheduled? Yes. Yeah, Liberty Troll. Next Thursday is oral arguments, and we'll get there'll be judgment that day. So we'll find out. It doesn't. It just doesn't. It doesn't paint this when a judge does something like that. It's. I mean, it calls everything into question. Wouldn't you say? I mean, that's the way that I think of things. So. Right. Yes. No, twisted seeing retaliation is it's so rare that when you encounter it, it's so shocking, So I'm not sure if I highlighted anything in the Cordova case, but he was the same kind of thing was being argued here. I think he was saying, well, I don't want to speak out of school, so I'm not going to get into the other one. But I just, the prosecutor added that into his 30-page brief, and I just thought that was interesting. That the whole time during our trial, we talked about the areas that we were always in and how those areas were always open to the public, and that we were never in a restricted area, that we were always in one of these areas, one of the lobby, the corridor, the entrance, the foyer. We were always in one of these areas. And then to see the prosecutor cite another case where the judge in that case says, yes, you can film in these areas. It doesn't speak real. I mean, it doesn't. I don't see it helping. Hey, Rogue, what's up, man? So this is what Rogue and I have been into today is reading this stuff. So it's a real page turner for sure. Let's go through some of the prosecutor stuff. What do you guys think? Oh, where is it? Oh, shit. All right. So I don't actually. Do you think that he made any persuasive arguments? I will say that he did make a pretty big segment out of the Social Security offices are non-public fora. The section 102-72.420 is reasonable, and I think that's something that I don't know if he's getting hung up on. I'm not saying it's unreasonable. I'm saying that it specifically allows filming. I mean, it does. It specifically allows filming. So I'm not saying it's unreasonable. I'm just saying let's follow the law. Let's follow the code of federal regulation, not the law per se, but something the GSA made up and that is criminal and carries jail time like a misdemeanor, but wasn't passed like a law. It was just kind of made up by the GSA, I guess. I think that's kind of how it goes. But to the issue, it doesn't matter if it's a public forum or a non-public forum. That only matters to expressive activity. And holding a camera is not expressive activity. It's holding a camera. So he's going to struggle. He's going to struggle with that one when we go to oral arguments on it, because it's his actual office, Price v. Garland, that just you know, they just had the ruling that filming is non-expressive activity. So, you know, he's trying to argue that, well, he doesn't say outright that what we're engaged in is expressive activity. He's just saying that it's a non-public forum. There's a real trust me bro vibe out of the whole situation coming from the United States here. We're supposed to trust that these rules exist. We're supposed to trust that the policies have the force of law. It doesn't kind of jive with the whole, you know, guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You know, we've raised so much reasonable doubt here that I'm drowning in reasonable doubt right now. I'm stifled by the reasonable doubt. I mean, the fact that he's citing these rules. Let's go here. It just, I read it and I try to wrap my head around it, and I can't. So it says we're talking about the policies right now. I'm not sure why we're talking about policies, since policies, they don't matter a bit in this whole thing. Policies, they don't matter. But anyway, I guess we're going to talk about the policy. So SSA, Program Operations Manual, the POMS. So that's the policy for Social Security. While the POMS does not have the force of law, it can be persuasive. So, okay, I'll agree with you. Doesn't have the force of law because it's a policy, right? But it can be persuasive. So let's see how persuasive we can make it. So he's talking about one of the PSOs, I think they're PSOs, testified that the POMS is the Social Security Administration's primary resource, primary policy resource. Okay, so we're just going to go a little further, and we're going to get into the POMS, and we're gonna see, is there a video recording policy in the POMS? There's no policy in the POMS. It's completely absent in the POMS. The only mention of it in the POMS is an audio recording policy. I don't have it in front of me, but it doesn't matter because you're allowed to audio record. And what it says in the audio recording policy, remember, not the video recording policy. This is just mentioned within the audio recording policy. So mentioning video inside another policy doesn't make it a video policy too. It just means that you're talking about one thing in another thing. So they say in the POMS, in the audio recording, that you cannot video. Actually, I don't even think it says you cannot video record. I think it says that that federal law prohibits video recording, and then it cites 41 CFR 102-74.420, which explicitly allows for filming for news purposes. So these dogs, what are you doing, bro? Stop. You gotta stop. Why are you doing that? So we got that going on, all right? And then he goes on further to say, the fact that Social Security Administration's security rule is not set forth in its own regulation is of no moment. So I think what he is saying here, we'll just read further. Let's see if we can get any insight. The plain language of the section 102-74.420 does not require a promulgated regulation or any other particular form, which is weird because in that code, it specifically states that that if you're going to deviate from the rules here, it needs to be done in very specific and laid out ways. So in the very beginning, he's saying that, again, it's the trust me bro vibe. Trust me bro, like we don't have this security rule like written down, but it's there, like you got to follow it. Except that's not what the law says. The law says except where security regulations, rules, orders, or directives apply. And, you know, as Discovery, we asked for these things. We asked if there were regulations, rules, orders, or directives. We asked in a matter of discovery whether these things existed so that we could know, right? And we found out that none exist. None exist. So it's very curious. It's very curious. I'm very interested to see how this goes, because, you know, I wrote my own brief, and you know, I made some arguments in there that, you know, hopefully the court will find persuasive. They were arguments in support of, you know, our First Amendment liberties, you know, the liberties that all of the people involved on the other side, they swore to uphold. So every single person fighting me and Rogue right now, they swore to protect the rights they're currently trying to stifle. I've become, I don't know if jaded is even the word, but this whole process, it has, the process is the punishment, is truly true. Rocket, are you for real, bro? My dog just wants to whine. And then I got my good dog right here, this guy. Yeah, he's good. So, let's go see what you guys got going on here. Yeah, hit that thumbs up. I love it. So, I don't know. What do you think, Rogue? Cammed up, it wouldn't even settle it. It wouldn't settle it at all, you know. It would only settle this case because, you know, there's this Stamps case, there's the Cordova case. There needs to be some communication between the security arm and Social Security. And maybe Social Security, if they want that to be the case, I still don't think that they can pull it off, because I think that the CFR lays it out. Like, the people need to be able to go in there and see what's going on. Are you kidding me? More secret government? That's what we want? We want more secret government? I mean, the fact that the government is asserting that you can't watch us, it should be pretty obvious that this is something that needs to occur. So, you know, there just needs to be communication between the people doing security there and Social Security, because, you know, Homeland Security thinks that there's rules from Social Security, and there's not. There's no rules. And, you know, that DHS memo, it's crafted, I'm not going to say crafted around that, but it's mentioned in there that SSA has a, what does it say? It says, for example, SSA has rules that prohibit photography and videotaping in its spaces. Okay, so SSA has rules. So if we go back to the regulation, except where security regulations, rules, orders, or directives apply. Okay, that makes sense. But we asked for these rules. We asked in discovery for these rules. Where are the rules? There's no rules. There's no written rules. So, obviously that's not true. I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know. So, I don't know. It's very, very interesting stuff. So, got any questions? What do you guys think? Not too many people. Well, I guess you've been pretty vocal about it. Rogue, you've been updating everybody about what's been going on. I expected. I'm not sure what I expected out of that brief, but I was left wanting, for sure. But another week we'll know the story, and I guess that's that. Appreciate everybody coming in here tonight. So we've got, I think we get 15 minutes. We get 15 minutes on Thursday to field any questions from the judge, and then I guess to rebut the prosecutor's brief. So yeah, I'm not sure I've got anything more to add other than I can't believe that well, actually we can talk about another part of it. I'm not sure if I've got it highlighted in here or not, but he talks about the Inspector Muhammad. He talks about how filming is permitted in multi I can't remember exactly what it was, multi-agency space, buildings where multiple federal agencies occupy the same building. And he said, well, those lobbies are the lobbies that we're talking about. Those are the lobbies that you're allowed to film in. But the problem with that is that the same exact signage that goes in that multi-agency space it's the same sign that goes over to Social Security. It's 41 CFR. It's the Code of Federal Regulations. It's I can't remember the exact verbiage. It's governing conduct on federal property. Whatever it is, but it's the same exact sign. So he's saying, well, you can do it here, but you can't do it there. And you're supposed to know that. How? You're supposed to know that by the official signage that doesn't exist. Now there's laminator law everywhere. That he actually mentions some. I mean, technically he mentions all of it because it's all laminator law because they just slap it up there. But he mentions a sign that says "Don't stand here." Like that's an official sign. For somebody to be serious and to put that in and say, there's a sign that says "Don't stand here," and he stood there. He had the gall to stand there. That son of a bitch. Rocket, what the heck, bro? I'm not letting you out. You're trapped in here. You're in the dungeon. So, yeah, it's a lot, Rich, it's a lot like Poster 7. All of these federal codes are essentially the same. The VA has a similar one. that also allows for recording in public spaces. Liberty Troll, I agree with you completely, and I think that was, you know, exhibited well before trial, but I think it came out in trial even more. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. But it's the same exact thing. There's a specific carve out for news purposes, and you know, maybe we should have made more of a point of that. I did make a mention of that in my brief, because there, actually, you know, we can bring that up. Let's do that. You guys want to hear a little bit of my brief? I guess it's not really my brief, it's just smarter people than me. Smarter people than me that already went through this, and they're the ones that won, I guess. All right, let's see. It's too low. Rocket, please, bro. All right, so this is actually this is something that I put in my. This is something I actually put in my motion to dismiss also. Let's see where we are. Rocket, come here. All right, so I found this to be probably, maybe not the most compelling, but it certainly was pretty compelling stuff to me. And this is the Honorable Jesus G. Bernal, United States District Judge in U.S. v. Rosebrock, that said in an order affirming judgment of dismissal. Okay, so this was a VA case that involved a man filming, and the judge is briefing everybody. They're dismissing the case, and he's discussing similar regulations. Okay, so the GSA, the General Services Administration regulation of news photography is facially similar to the VA regulation. It states that persons entering, bro, come here, lay down, here, come here, come on, right there, lay down, right here, yep, there you go, there it is, right there. Jeez, freaking dogs, man. Okay, all right. Is facially similar to the VA regulation. It states that persons entering in or on federal property may take photographs of buildings, entrances, lobbies, foyers, corridors, auditoriums for news purposes. 41 CFR 102.74.420. Those numbers are burned into my brain. Nevertheless, the GSA regulation of photography is as a whole is dissimilar to the VA regulation in that the GSA regulation limits photography for all purposes. Subsections A and B of the GSA regulation restrict photography for non-commercial and commercial purposes, respectively, without the consent of the occupying agency. 41 CFR 102.74.420 The universe of photographic purposes is restricted by these two subsections alone, no matter the photographic purpose. A photographer must seek permission from the occupying agency, except when taking photography authorized under the news photography subsection C, which permits news photography in certain location. It is is best read as a qualifications for subsections A and B. Permission need not be sought by persons who take photographs of building entrances, lobbies, foyers, corridors, and auditoriums for news purposes. I mean, that seems pretty rational. And the reason it seems pretty rational is because that's the plain reading of the law. That's the plain reading. That's what a fourth grader would come away understanding. That's the way the law is supposed to be written. It's supposed to be written so that you can understand what it means. So this judge is obviously a very rational person, unlike what do we have here? The Honorable Sarah W. Hayes in the Stamps case, who said, and the court has reviewed the videotape, and I've mentioned several times, it is clear that the defendant was allowed and was able to film the entrance, the foyer, the lobby areas where people were sitting. Okay? So right up to that point, I'm with this person. I say, okay, they read the law, they understand it because it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple, you gotta admit. I don't understand how anybody can read can really read that and be serious and then come away thinking that everybody thinks that like it's like invisible. It's like it's not there. It's like a trap door or something that I don't know how you get down there, but it's completely useless to these people. Everything is A and B. A and B, A and B, A and B. You gotta do everything A and B. C doesn't exist. You need permission for C. You don't need it the way it's written, but trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. So anyway, some of you have already heard it, but we'll just go on. But in addition, the court filmed private, I don't know why it says the court filmed private individuals coming and going from the building. So we'll just assume that was done from inside, because I don't know, but it doesn't make it better or worse. It's the same thing. Who cares? Why does that matter? What does it matter? The defendant filmed behind the security the security guard of the security guard. So what? Was he in public? Was he in the public lobby? Could you see him? If you could see him, I think you're allowed to film him. I think that's how it works. I don't know. I'm just kind of ranting, guys. It's got me hot. Ryan, I don't know about that, man. Rocket, come here. Rocket. Come here. Come here. Come here. Oh, you're not going to come? All right, come on up here. Come on up here. Oh, my gosh. Oh, this thing. That's Rocket. All right, get out of here. Oh, here. Oh. All right. So, I don't know why I did that, but whatever. So, anybody got any questions? I gotta calm down. Yeah, Rogue. That part was weird, but the retaliation by the judge. I mean, that's pretty messed up. We'll just get into it, because why not? Okay, so we'll read a little bit, actually. Okay, I apologize. Anything you want to argue about the appropriate penalty? Government is arguing for $120. So, yeah, you wasted a lot of resource. What's going on, John? Good to see you. Both Johns. John Denicola, John Eagle. Good to see you, gentlemen. And so he's saying, oh, you used a lot of resources. It looks like you're getting off pretty easy here, $120. Sounds like the prosecutor's going pretty easy on you. And Mr. Moore says, I agree, Your Honor. However, we plan to appeal this. Oh, you shouldn't have talked about your rights. Oh, that was not. So then the judge says, you do? You do? You plan to appeal it? Yes. All right. Well, in that case, although the government has recommended 120, we're going to jack it up. We think it's way too low given everything that was involved in the case. Like, if you just omit the words, well, in that case, you can get away with that higher fee. Rocket, you're too much, bro. Guys, I gotta let him out. All right, yeah. I don't know if you could hear all the whining, but holy shit, it's driving me nuts. So, anyway, I think that she could have gotten away with it, you know, kind of like the lawyer in, well, no, but I don't know, guys. My head's kind of racing here, but that judge was just a bit much, If you just don't act like a tyrant, you can probably still act like a tyrant. I don't know. So, yeah, that's what we got. So I'm gonna spend the next few days working on probably a 10-ish minute speech, and then hopefully I don't need more than 5 minutes to field any questions from our judge. What up, Dub? And I think that it's hard to tell because you never really know, but from all appearances, it seems like our judge is being fair. I don't know. I guess we'll see in a week, but yeah. Yeah, public view media, they make it they complicate simple things to distort the law. I think is closer to what happens because we read the law. The law is pretty simple. The law is pretty cut and dry. It just seems like it's trust us. Trust us. Trust me, bro. There actually is one of those security rules, regulations, or directives, but it's top secret. And we can't show you. We just got to put up all these fake ass signs and tell you that it's real. Flyer, I don't know. I can't imagine that. How would you know? You know what I mean? He didn't seem like it in court. But it's very hard to judge something like that. So I found it interesting that they introduced both these unpublished decisions. I'm not sure if the Stamps case is actually on appeal right now. I do know that the Cordova case is on appeal right now. Hey, come here. Come here. Hey, what are you doing? So that's that, really. David, what up, man? Happy to have you here. You missed the whole show. I was kind of venting about what's been going on with the Social Security case. So that's really it. Let's see if we can get into. So when we left after the trial, the judge wanted he wanted us to answer a few questions in our brief, and I don't even remember, Rogue. I think Jim did address all of them. I can't remember, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure that the prosecutor did. So I'm not sure why, but that was that. So, but one of the questions was a question about the news, and I think that, well, I don't know. The way that I answered the question was the way that I assumed that he was asking the question, though, was, is everybody news, or is news just this certain thing? So I'm not going to read all this, but I'll read a little bit, because some of it's good, some of it was where are we going here? Where are we going? Absent holding. Maybe I should. No, I can't put that up, can I? Bear with me for a second here, guys. Liberty final. Okay, so third was the question of news. So third is the question of news. Today, civilians armed with smartphones are increasingly performing the watchdog functions associated with the traditional news press. This is surpassingly important because serendipitous amateur image capture can fill some of the lectane left by the decimal of salaried news staffs. That was from Crimea, from Persuasive Image Capture and the First Amendment, from the Penn Law Review, page 350. As demonstrated below, such image capture and recordings are more often responsible for bringing to light events which otherwise would go unnoticed or unreported. Federal Communications Committee versus CBS. I won't go into the citations too much. As every school child knows, a picture is worth 1,000 words. As such, protecting the right to observe and to record interactions between law enforcement personnel and individuals must be enshrined. This is particularly important because, as Professor Richardson observes, courts repeatedly defer to judgments of all officers with no inquiry into the particular officer's training, experience, or skill. Some citations there. Accordingly, cameras have become an effective tool for ordinary citizens to protect against and expose police abuses. Unfortunately, it has taken recent events to demonstrate the importance of the citizen journalist, whether he or she intended to be, in shedding the light on the police killings of minorities. And then I talked about the Garner, the Walter Scott. As the court is no doubt aware, these are sadly not isolated instances. Accordingly, because the police have traditionally been the ones with control over the official narratives, the police conduct in court and in the news the ability to counter those narratives with stories the ability to counter those narratives with stories backed by video has transformed the nature of both public opinion and court testimony. So there's a lot. It's 30 pages. So 30-page brief. It was I don't know, man. I don't know if it would be easier if you were doing it for somebody else, you know, if it didn't mean so much, you know, would you care about it as much as you do? Or would I should say. I think it's obvious that some others in their work don't, you know. Maybe it's just a pride of you know, pride of workmanship. I don't know what the word is there, but yeah, Rogue. Very, very curious. I don't think he touched on the news aspect of it at all, and that, you know, that's everything here. That's the whole entire case. The people have a duty. The people have a responsibility to keep a watchful eye on government. It's not, we're supposed to trust the Social Security Administration to police itself. I think that we don't need to go much further. John Floyd case, yeah. Let's see. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. Yeah, and of course, the civilian recording of George Floyd's brutal arrest by Minneapolis police officers graphically depicted the needless violence inflicted by law enforcement, sparking nationwide protest in what has been described as the largest movement in the country's history. See Larry Buchanan, just citations. So, absent a holding that there is an unequivocal First Amendment right to observe and record law enforcement, many citizen journalist activities will be subject to chilling effects. Failing to hold such rights exists would rely on an outdated notion of what constitutes the press, and perhaps more concerning, who is entitled to First Amendment protections. Over 40 years ago, the Supreme Court recognized that liberty of press is the right of the lonely pamphleteer who uses carbon paper or a mimeograph just as much as the large metropolitan publisher who utilizes the latest in photo composition methods. Brandsburg. So, you know, I don't know. I took some time to kind of explain the importance of, you know, our role, you know, in trying to clean this up. You know, this is all our fault. You know, it's all our parents' fault. It's all very, very bad. And, you know, we've adopted this red versus blue mentality, and that's just what they want, you know, because there's no answer on either side. There's not the right answer. There's, you know, you can find good on each side, right? There's something good on each side, and then there's a whole lot of bad on each side. And what we're supposed to trust our elected officials to clean up the mess. That's what we're supposed to do, and we're not supposed to keep a watchful eye on government. We're not supposed to, you know, the case that's supposed to be prevailing here in Florida is Smith v. Cumming. And, you know, while that was about police recording, the court doesn't make that distinction. The court makes the distinction that we have a right to record public officials in the course of their duties. It doesn't say if they're outside. It says public officials in the course of their duty. The majority of the official duties that the public officials conduct are inside these buildings where they're robbing us blind, where they're dooming our kids to slavery for who knows how many generations. I'm having one of those kind of days, guys. So, yeah, you know, yeah, John, that's the problem. Like, that's why it's so bad, and I think I think that James Freeman's, I think that he's probably right. You know, that what we're doing here is we're documenting the downfall. You know, I'd like to say that I was contributing to saving the republic, or, you know, something, you know, noble, but, you know, you get pretty disillusioned pretty quick doing this when, I mean, I live in a police state, so I don't know if any of you guys don't live in a police state. That's a good question, actually. Do any of you not live in a police state? Because I'm not sure I've seen the videos from that one state where they all act good and they all honor their oath and they all do the right thing. You know, I gotta watch what I say. Yeah, so I won't go there. But I mean, I have to imagine that you guys all think that we, I mean, yeah, police state in Texas, yeah, hell yeah, Texas is a police state. Look at what they just did to Carolina. For the outrageous crime of filming. For the outrageous crime of filming. They didn't have video cameras in 1790. Maybe it lasted a year. What, the non-corruption? Arizona wins the gold medal. Arizona's bad, but I don't know, man. Like, I don't feel warm and fuzzy here in Florida. You know, I don't know if you guys should all follow Twisted Luck Truth. He has some of the most hilarious videos. He put up a parody video last week of a process server's car getting towed, and he made a hilarious video. It was great. Well, the elected sheriff decided to reach out and comment on his video because Mike Chitwood has the thinnest skin in the game. Leslie, very good to see you. I emailed you my brief this morning. I don't know if you saw that, but I did. So I'm not sure if you want to read that or not, but it's there for you. Yeah, man. Yeah. Guys, here, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. This isn't even for me, guys. This is for you. You're gonna wonder just what the heck is going on. I'm gonna give you guys an email, and maybe just look for a video of Mike Chitwood, the Volusia County Sheriff, and send him an email and just, give him your opinion or ask him a pointed question, or it doesn't even matter how politely you do it. If you express any dissatisfaction with his deputies, however legitimate, you will be met with insults. You will be met with downright childish antics. But yes, he will call you names. He will instigate. He will stoke the fire. He is the worst kind of sheriff. Somebody that doesn't listen to people that have valid concerns because of other things that they believe is so outrageous. How can you not understand that you will be found guilty on all charges? It's already been done. Have you not heard of Chris Cordova? LOL. Enjoy. Keep running from freedom, buddy. Keep running from it. I think that you are actually one of my oldest fans. I have to tell you how much I appreciate it. You've been here for a long time. I want to say since the beginning. So I know that we butt heads because you're such a coward, but I do want you to know that I appreciate you coming here. I do. So, and it's not already decided. We were looking at the Cordova verdict right here. This is the Cordova case. But I heard that was on appeal. So do you know the appeal results, coward? Yeah. Hopefully he's hanging out. Did he hear about the stamps case? He probably thinks that's another pretty persuasive argument. The stamps one's great. Oh, guess he's all gone. Oh well. So anyway, back to the story, Mike Chitwood. I'm sorry, got to give you his email. It's mchitwood at vcso.us. mchitwood at vcso.us. Pretty good chance he's gonna email you back. He's got plenty of time to answer emails and watch videos and comment on videos. He is a media whore, and he just loves just poking and doing stuff. So, check that out. I do invite you guys to do that. But yeah, Twisted's videos they're quite funny. Quite funny. All right, I've been on for over an hour. I think that now that almost everyone's here, I can finally turn it down. Well, thank you, Leslie. John, are you talking about the coward? I appreciate that, Rich. This is very uncomfortable, so I want to say things sometimes, but it's very uncomfortable. Mike, Is Mike the one that shut down his face? No, I'm pretty sure his Facebook page is thriving. You should check it out. He called us clowns a couple, well, it's maybe a month ago now, but he's got a picture of James Madison, James Madison audits, and he's talking about the clowns at YouTube as one of his officers retaliates against him in violation of his oath. So because somebody's actively getting their rights violated, and he's asserting and standing up for his rights, he's the clown of YouTube. So yeah, he's something else. I guess when a lawsuit and abuse litigation adds cream foundation is laid prior to that. Yeah, that's probably true, Kate Crispy. I need to be better in those things, like my Orlando case, for instance. I should have done that whole thing pro se too, but it probably would have ended the same way, just because, kind of where I was then to where, I mean, I'm not even anywhere really, as to understanding what the hell I'm doing. The biggest thing is probably having Catherine as like a resource to ask questions to. Now, she didn't offer like brief advice or anything like that, but she was instrumental in deadlines and just making sure that some things like that got done, because in that Orlando case, for instance, the City Hall case, I had the public defender represent me, and they didn't even file a motion to dismiss. No motions were filed. So you get a picture, and it's not a pretty one. The justice, the tiers, I'm not sure if it's more than 2-tier, but it's at least a 2-tier justice system. So Kay Crispy, what kind of attorney is your daughter? Is she in Florida? Cheers, right? That's so true, Rich. Yeah, dude. Good to see you here, by the way. You're the fucking best channel out there right now. For fucking sure. Random Patriot. You guys probably all know about him, but your videos are fucking fire, bro. Yeah, and that's it. Like, was I any less scared having somebody represent me that, like, I was, we met a few times before, and I was like, can we do some of these things? Can we talk about some of these things? Let's make sure we talk about some of these things during trial. And they were like, well, you don't want to bring these things up. So it's just, you find that there's probably great ones somewhere. There's probably great public defenders somewhere that do a great service for their client. But there's also like the other ones. And, that's people's, that's your life, so yeah, I mean, if you, like, I don't know how things are going to go. I don't know. I know how things should go. But, and I by no means did better than, I'm not even sure how to say it, an attorney worth their salt, or maybe one of those prior attorneys, the ones that care. I'm not going to pretend like I'm doing a job as good as they would do, but I know that I certainly care about the case a lot more. You know what I mean? It's just a paycheck. It's a 9 to 5 for those people, like the prosecutor in my case. Matthew Del Mastro, like, you know, he goes home at 5, you know, or 6 or whatever the hell he goes home at. It doesn't matter. But you know, the case ends for him there. You know what I mean? It doesn't come home with him like it comes home with me. It's this has been more than a year for Rogan. I believe. Certainly more than a year from the initial ticket phase, which went on for 3 appearances where absolutely nothing happened, where they just Leslie, you're right, but I even think that can probably go bad for expensive lawyers too if they don't care. I mean, greater than their money. I mean, greater than the care for money. I'm not. There's a ton of good, you know, attorneys. I'm not saying that there's not. But I'm not a rich man, so I'm not trying to drop, you know, $15K on an attorney to represent me in federal court, you know. So that's that. Yes, agreed. And I also agree with that. So, yeah, what happened to the speedy trial? Yeah, I mean, it didn't happen. It did not happen. Where is your office at? I've actually gone into a good one. What was it? Was it Kissimmee that was good? Yeah, I think it was Kissimmee that was good. And it's funny, the prosecutor, he argues that was the location that we were allowed to film it. The PSO said, yeah, you know, I think you're right, and he let us film. And you know, the prosecutor tries to pretend that he was just trying to de-escalate the situation. So he said you could film in order to de-escalate, as if that matters, as if him giving permission, like they say you must have, does it matter if he was de-escalating or not? He de-escalated and gave permission. I mean, it's just so, you have to like stretch your brain to come to these rationales. I don't know, like, yeah, okay, so he did it to de-escalate the situation. Well, that was good of him to de-escalate the situation, but while he de-escalated, he gave the permission that we needed, or not that we needed, that they say we needed. It's, dear Lord. Yeah, Leslie, nobody wants to, yeah, good luck finding a civil rights attorney, you know what I mean? It's, yeah, I think Random Patriot actually, Justin, you did a video on this where you called around civil rights attorneys, didn't you? I mean, and the point is, everybody's a civil rights attorney because it sounds good, right? It sounds good until you pick up the phone and you get past their profile on the internet, where it says, yeah, we do civil rights, but then you get them on the phone, it's like, yeah, we don't do civil rights. Nah, no. that we don't bite the hand that feeds us. Like, we know where our meals get greased, you know what I mean? So hopefully, hopefully I don't have to learn how to become a good criminal defense attorney. Hopefully I do not improve my chops in that arena, because I don't really want to get arrested. But I will be cutting my teeth on some of these other things where, like public records, for instance. We're having some real battles with public records around here, the land specifically, and you guys know how much I love the land. So, the land isn't complying with the law, and if we're being real, why the hell do they care? Nothing's happening. They've been violating the law with impunity for years, and nobody's done shit. So, I mean, until something changes, nothing's gonna change, right? I mean, I don't know why we think that more record requests is gonna yield the results that we want. It's it's their budget. It's their budget that is the only way that you can get at these people. And I don't know if it's cutting the insurance companies out from under them, where they have to start paying these claims out of their actual revenues, or what it is. But I'm not gonna just lie down and let these people violate the law so blatantly. So I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna learn a little more, and I'll just start being a prosay litigant. Yeah, Justin, that's basically what I did I'll catch you up to speed. The Social Security case that's going on right now for me and Rogue, we're being tried as co-defendants. The trial phase ended. We briefed the courts. We had 25-page briefs. I found out today, Rogue, that it was just the prosecutor that was asking for that 5-page increase in the pages. So I also added 5 pages to my brief, but I didn't ask for permission. So if he could just toss the whole thing, I don't think he would do that. I pray to God that he doesn't. But in either case, I submitted a 30-page brief today as well, and that's pretty much what my entire brief was case precedent. That, I mean, it's so clearly established, and you read it. I don't understand. They are fighting the bad fight, and I don't know how you can go home at night and be like, well, how was your day, honey? What'd you do? What case are you working on? Oh, we're really fucking cracking down on these guys that like the First Amendment. They like freedom of speech and press and shit. Oh, but we're fucking crushing them. We've had them tied up for like a year. We banned them from the Social Security. We are trying to bury these fucking people for keeping an eye on us, for keeping an eye on the government. We're trying to bury this guy. So, yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. which is, you know, it's weird. Dude seems like a good guy. I mean, he seems like a stand-up nice guy, you know. I like to give people, you know, I give people the benefit of the doubt. You know, I treat people the way that they treat me. You know, I try to, you know, I try to not be an asshole. I know that might not be maybe always believable, because sometimes I am, but, you know, I'm usually just pretty nice. So, but some of these arguments, some of these arguments, I just don't, oh man. The defendant knowingly failed to comply with official signs. This is on the very first page. We asked about everything that was official. Which official signs? Which ones are the official ones? Is the sign that said, "Don't stand here," is that one of the official signs? Do we have to comply with the official signs or the non-official signs? And do we need a key to decode which signs we have to comply with? It doesn't seem reasonable. Not to me. I don't know. I did not, John, but I do. I typically love those kind of videos, which is odd because the people questioning them need to be looked into just as voraciously as as the officials of these departments. But at least they're not unelected bureaucrats. That, I mean, we'll take that VA guy for instance. I don't know what he said, but could it possibly be worse than like the VA stuff that came out a few years ago? So I take it that nothing's changed. I have to imagine that absolutely nothing's changed. It's probably still the same dude in charge. Or maybe the other one resigned and they, you know, moved up the guy that was under him, but he was under him before him, you know, before the other guy. They got fired for just gross incompetence, right? So we're just going to bring up this other guy. And, well, he's grossly incompetent too. But they're just the vets. I mean, right? Right? I mean, like, we don't have to actually, like, treat them good, do we? I mean, it's not like they didn't become slaves for the country, you know? It's not like some of them didn't give everything, you know? Yeah, so, all right, so I said I was going to get off 20 minutes ago. I'm still on. All right. I think that's it, guys. Appreciate you guys coming in, hanging out. If anybody's got any good ideas, to use in the oral arguments, send me an email. I think I'm gonna stop giving out the letters of Phocion email because people well, I can't even act like people struggle with it because I think they just don't make any faith effort whatsoever. I got a video coming out tomorrow, and it's the typical thing, you know. It's the typical thing. Will you make the good faith effort? Yeah, man. Like I'm that kind of cop. Like I just said the other day. If somebody asked me if I didn't know something, I would find out. So then I ask him. And he's like, oh, no, Ben, I'm busy. I gotta go. I got another call. I gotta go. So, I say, well, is your body cam rolling? Do you review your body cam? I can just give you my email. You can follow up. Oh, I'll try, man. We're really busy, though. We're short-staffed. We're short-staffed here in DeLand. And it's just like, fucking liar, bro. Another no faith. Another, and again, like, dude seemed like a good guy, right? Seemed like a nice guy. How hard would it have been? Like seriously. Let's just see, because we sat there and we talked back and forth for a few seconds about the email, about how busy he was. What's the First Amendment? Okay. So, we didn't time that, right? We didn't time that. But I'm going to say, I'm going to be generous, and I'm actually going to count the time. I'm going to include the time where I turned around and picked up the phone while I was talking. So I'm going to say that was 20 seconds. So 20 seconds to find out the 5 freedoms secured to us by the First Amendment. It's not. No, Justin. No. 20 seconds. It'll only take 20 seconds. But I agree with you, even if it took 5 minutes. And that was the point that I made to him, like, because I knew as soon as he said that he didn't give a shit. He wasn't going to do a goddamn thing. So, I said to him, even, bro, even if you had to take your own time to find this out, like, are you seriously telling me that you swore an oath to this thing and that not only do you not know it, but you don't even care to know it? You don't even care to bother yourself to take the time to know it. Maybe it would take the 5 minutes to read it, wrap your mind around it, maybe do a little extra research. Like, what's this press stuff? Who's that apply to? Where do they get their credentials? Do I issue those? Oh, Jesus. So, I don't know. It doesn't paint a real rosy picture for the future. Right? No, Leslie. No, although, do you remember Apopka? I've been there a few times, but do you remember the female sergeant? Now, she wasn't going to her colleagues, but do you remember how excited that lady was to come out and tell me that she knew the First Amendment? I mean, listen, I thought it was great because before she didn't know, and now she knows, and that's important to me. It's very important to me. So when she came out, she was jacked up. She was excited. And you know what? That made me pretty happy. So did she go back and enthusiastically train her subordinates? Probably not. But, I don't know. She was, I think she was a sergeant. So she had some sway over that stuff, right? I don't know. Maybe it's helpful. I'm not sure who is it helpful to. Yeah, who is it help? Is it helpful to the 1 in 10? I mean, maybe it is worth. I mean, maybe that's how to look at it. Even would even 1% be good enough? I realize that we need to convert some measure of the masses, right? We need greater numbers. Yeah. Okay. Justin, it's close. It's close. I mean, I've got a pretty large sampling, and it's. I mean, it's close to that 1% number. I think that Cameras Everywhere actually did a little video where he broke it down, but out of his sample, he happened to take some that, his sample was skewed a little bit, so I think results actually looked a little better than they actually were. So. Yeah, no, Leslie, that isn't lost on me. Was it only 10%? I think I'd heard like 13% or something like that, but whatever, right? I mean, 2% of the general public. Yeah, I probably wouldn't argue with that either. Yeah, that's probably close. So what is that? How many millions of people is that? What is that, about 8 million people? Is that 16 million people, roughly? So 1%, so 33, right? We need more than 3.3 million people. That's for sure. Well, Joe, you're right. You're right. I get that. The average citizen doesn't know the First Amendment, but I do expect the police officer to know it, because they literally swore an oath to protect it. I think that, like, I realize that the training, like, I know they do training on the First Amendment, but I don't think they actually tell them what the First Amendment is. I think they just do some training on the First Amendment, right? I think that's what is part of the problem. But it's not like, I would like my question to be more than, what are the 5 freedoms secured to us by the First Amendment, but you're not going to get into an intellectual conversation with or maybe this, you're only going to get into an intellectual conversation with 1% of these people. So getting them to know is a great start on the road to understanding the First Amendment. So I would what up, Jenny? I would venture to say that there's a lot of people within our own community that don't know, not that they don't know the First Amendment, but they don't understand what those rights mean. Yeah, John, that was some, what was that called? Real cop stuff? or I can't remember. Tell me what the name of that, what that cop thing was. Well, 707 Humboldt, thank you, bro. Or ma'am. I appreciate that, and I'm glad, man. I'm glad that that's how it's gone. John, petition. It's petition. Petition is the action right there. So you're petitioning for redress of grievances. Well, you know, I don't know where the raps came from, but the whole, and David was in here a little while ago, but, you know, David's the whole San Joaquin Valley Transparency. He's the whole reason that, you know, one, that I'm even doing this, and two, that I ask that question. I mean, it's fundamentally important to me, but it was him. It was watching his videos that got me to ask the question to myself. That it you know, kind of, I imagine that this is how all auditors exist, or whatever you guys want to call yourself, citizen journalists, whatever you are. You're the watchers of the government. That's what it is. But how many of you guys started off by saying it can't possibly be that bad? There's not a chance in hell that it's that bad. And then you go out and you realize that not only is it that bad, but it is much, much worse than you ever imagined. And you watch that one video that was real bad, and you realize that there's the potential for that to happen any time you're around law enforcement. They're so unpredictable and volatile that you are truly in danger when you are around law enforcement. That's pretty much what I believe. Yeah, John is I think the first video I saw of John was that traffic stop where the cop told him to pull down to the next drive or something like that. And then he's like, "Oh, you drove out of my jurisdiction." And John ended up calling him a sovereign citizen. I think that's the most classic video ever. It's great. I don't know. Are other people asking that question because of me? I don't think they're asking because of me. I mean, bro, your channel's bigger than mine. Twice as big as mine. I think, and I'm not. You deserve to be twice as big. You deserve to be probably, you know, 250K and higher. Your shit is good. But that's just to say, like, I don't know how many people like I'm affecting. I'm just being real. So. Well, Leslie, I'm sorry to report, but this Social Security case is, it's a prime mover. Remember Kim Davenport? I did walk in there and I did call her Karen that day because it said K Davenport and she wouldn't give me her name. She was kind of being a Karen. So I slipped. I did slip up, but I will say this. Leslie Sylvan has gotten my mind right on a lot of things. And I do try to keep many of them in mind when I'm out. And I believe that you have had a direct impact on me trying to remain more composed than I otherwise would be, because of that, and also the police cars running. I am no longer in the camp that thinks that the police should turn their cars off in between their activities. Is anybody interested in understanding why? That's very true. That's the only good. Mostly good. Some of the 5%, we'll say that 5% of the time good. No, Rogue, you can't educate through hate, and you can't. You gotta. You need to be receptive. You know, there's people on both sides of. I hate to even call it an argument. I don't know what's being argued. Freedom and tyranny, really. But I've got an open mind. Like, I'll listen to, like, the prosecutor, for instance. I was open to listening and understanding the United States position on all this. I wanted to understand, how it's supposed to work, I guess. But, I just, I and then I read it. Yeah. Yeah, so that's that. Thanks for being here, John. I appreciate it very much, my friend. So, the police cars. Nobody cared, but I obviously wanted to tell you, so I'm going to tell you anyway. So, the police car thing, and it's real simple. Do you think, now, we're not working off the assumption, we have to begin here. We're not working off the assumption that the police do the right thing all the time. That would be a dangerous position to be operating from. So we're going to go forward with the understanding of things how they are. Would you be more interested in being pulled over by a police officer that had just gotten back into his air-conditioned car under his, whatever, however many layers of, heat equipment? Would you rather get pulled over by the one that just got back into his air-conditioned car, or the one that got into his hot car and just turned on his hot car, just burnt his hand on the, well, I guess they don't have shifters anymore. There's so maybe the steering wheel, or who knows what, but and then there's the equipment in the car. So is there going to be some time deficit that the citizen is going to get nailed with if the computer is overheated or taking too long or anything like that? So I was always like, you asshole cops, you're just wasting gas, you fucking assholes. But we talked about it, and I saw her point of view, and she's right. It's you know what? It's not that much gas compared to somebody not being abused for the cop being uncomfortable. I don't know. That's just me and Leslie. I don't know. All right, so we're up to 105 minutes. So now we're 40 minutes past when I said I was going to go. And I have noticed that the viewership has steadily declined from a peak of, I think it was around 40 something. So good to know that my conversation is riveting and compelling to listen to. Yeah, I bet that turns into something real hot, real quick. That's right, man. 5-hour drive. That's a long drive. We've got a place we go to. It's like 8 hours. 8 hours from here. That's the limit. That's the high end of my comfort for travel. I appreciate that, John. Every week, Jenny. Is that for work? I hope you get paid a lot. That's a lot. 5 hours in one day. So you do go out Monday, come home Friday? Do you have family? Yeah, Kate Crispy. I'm trying to. Yeah, I'm trying to keep it up. You know, I'm hopeful. You know, I think Rogue and I are both hopeful. But you never know. You know, you never know until it happens. I think that, again, I've probably said this a couple times, but I think that I made some compelling arguments that should stand up. I mean, it just seems so reasonable. I don't know. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense, Jenny. I will you know, you hesitate to say something. It's because you don't want to, or I don't know why I say you, because I don't want to, you know, I don't want to come across as being something that I'm not. I'm just kind of telling how I feel about an issue and how things kind of how I kind of process things in my brain. But you know, so I'm a dad, and you know, having kids, that was my greatest fear. My greatest fear is that one of my kids was going to be, you know, autistic, specifically autistic. And I'm not by any means saying anything derogatory about autistic. You know, I actually think that there's like a superpower there, right? And that the people that are, you know, the parents or whoever's connecting with that, I think that has to become their life mission, is discovering what that superpower is for that particular brand of autism. But I remember it so vividly that this was a, you know, however irrational, but it was a fear that I had, that, and I don't know if it was a fear that I was experiencing because it would it would affect me, or was I looking at it from my child's point of view? Because does the child know anything else? It's not anything strange to them. It's just normal life to them, right? So it was, was that a selfish fear that I was experiencing? It's a I've tried to process that after my kids have grown up a little bit, and I look back, and I look back frequently, and I say to myself, oh my God, I'm so lucky, so Jenny, that wasn't you had said that you're a full-time mom taking care of your kids, and that's what prompted this whole line of thought. So bless you for doing what, you can't do anything other than that, right? But I hope that you are okay with it, you know what I mean? Like, that you've processed what it is to you. I don't know. Okay. Appreciate that, Ben. I need to post more, really. I don't post nearly enough. Yeah, there's homeschooling's probably pretty, even when it's not rewarding, you have to acknowledge that the fruits of your labor are going to be very rewarding in the future. There's going to be real payoff there. And again, I'm not, if you're doing it right, and I imagine that since you're doing it, you're doing it right, because it's a lot to take on. So commend you for that as well. So whereas my sister is functioning, and she helps me understand what her brother is going through. It's my subject. See, like, Jenny, there's, like, I hope that do you acknowledge that, like, there's something very strong inside of him, right? And he knows things that he shouldn't know, and he does things that he shouldn't know how to do. And it's those types of things that he's got to learn more of, right? Because he will be able to communicate somehow through that, or through whatever. I'm not saying that. I'm saying whatever his superpower is. Jenny, I don't want to say I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Because I don't. It's not like it's not a matter of pity. I do not pity you, but I know that it is likely a burden, oftentimes like no other. And I just want you to know that I empathize with you. So I'm 62. Do I look 62? Holy shit. All right, we're almost at 2 hours. I've never been on here for 2 hours, I don't think. All right. Well, guys, I appreciate you coming on. What's going on, Howard? I appreciate everybody coming on here and hanging out and letting me vent a little bit about what's going on with this case, and I guess just to yeah, I don't usually wear my hat like this. I usually wear it the other way, but that's funny. Yeah, so we will have an answer to this question next Thursday. So yeah, this is a public service. Hope everybody has a great weekend, and again, I appreciate you guys being here. So long.